Have you ever wondered why we feast on cows, chickens, and sheep, but not lions, tigers, or wolves? Despite their strength and abundance in nature, carnivorous animals are rarely found on dinner plates around the world. This curious dietary choice isn't just about taste, it's deeply rooted in biology, culture, and survival strategy. Understanding why humans consume animals that eat vegetables, not meat, opens the door to fascinating insights into how we evolved, what we value, and how we shape the world around us. Before I continue, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends, so more people can discover this content. Also, subscribe to receive more content like this. Have you ever noticed that when we sit down to eat meat, it almost always comes from animals that graze on grass or eat grains, like cows, chickens, pigs, sheep, or goats? Rarely do we consider eating animals like lions, wolves, or tigers. The dietary pattern for most societies isn't coincidental. It is the product of thousands of years of biology, culture, economics, health, and practical reasoning. This video explores the reasons humans predominantly consume herbivorous, plant-eating animals and not carnivorous, meat-eating ones. One of the most fundamental explanations lies in the laws of ecology. In every ecosystem, energy is transferred from one level of the food chain to the next. Plants, being producers, sit at the bottom. Herbivores eat the plants, and carnivores eat the herbivores. Each step up the food chain results in a loss of energy, usually around 90% per level. That means feeding a carnivore requires far more plant biomass than feeding a herbivore. If humans were to consume carnivores, they would be eating from the least efficient level of the food chain. Not only would this be an unsustainable use of agricultural land, but it would also require farming more animals just to feed the meat eaters that humans intend to consume. By eating herbivores directly, we skip an unnecessary and resource-intensive step, making our diets more efficient and less taxing on the environment. Another reason why humans consume herbivores rather than carnivores is rooted in domestication. Thousands of years ago, humans began to domesticate animals that were easy to breed, feed, and manage. Herbivores were ideal candidates for domestication. They are usually social animals, capable of living in groups, and have relatively predictable behavior. They are also easier to feed, as plants are cheaper and more abundant than meat. On the other hand, carnivorous animals are more solitary, territorial, and aggressive. Their feeding requirements are more complex and expensive, as they require high-protein diets usually derived from other animals. Raising carnivores for food would therefore involve killing large numbers of herbivores just to maintain them, which is not only inefficient but also ethically troubling for many societies. Herbivorous animals are generally safer to eat. Carnivores, especially in the wild, are more likely to carry parasites, diseases, or toxins. This is due to a phenomenon called biomagnification, where harmful substances accumulate at higher levels of the food chain. Carnivores often consume multiple other animals over their lifetimes, each of which may contain trace amounts of harmful compounds. Over time, these substances concentrate in the predator's tissues, posing potential health risks to any human who consumes them. In contrast, herbivores eat only plants, which are less likely to contain such compounds. As a result, their meat tends to be cleaner and safer for regular consumption. Moreover, many zoonotic diseases, those that jump from animals to humans, are more frequently found in carnivorous species. For instance, wild animals like bats and civets have been linked to the origins of viruses like SARS and Ebola. SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome, is a viral respiratory illness caused by the SARS-CoV coronavirus, first identified in China in 2002. It spreads through respiratory droplets and caused a global outbreak in 2003 before being contained, with a mortality rate of around 10%. Similarly, Ebola is a severe and often deadly viral disease caused by the Ebola virus, which leads to fever, bleeding, organ failure, and can be fatal. It spreads through direct contact with the blood or body fluids of infected people or animals. These examples underscore the greater health risks associated with consuming meat from carnivorous or wild animals. Beyond safety concerns, taste and texture are also significant factors influencing dietary preferences. Herbivore meat tends to be more tender and palatable, especially in animals that are farm-raised. This is partly due to their diet and lifestyle. Carnivores, being hunters, have leaner, tougher muscles and often produce gamier, more pungent meat. These characteristics can be off-putting to the average consumer. Culinary traditions across the globe have developed around the familiar flavors and textures of herbivore meat. From beef stew to roast chicken, from pork ribs to lamb curry, most iconic meat dishes are based on plant-eating animals. The unfamiliar flavor profile of carnivore meat simply does not align with the expectations or preferences of most cultures. Cultural and religious norms have further shaped the human preference for herbivore meat. In many societies, carnivorous animals are not seen as food, but as symbols of power, danger, or even spiritual guardians. Lions, tigers, and wolves have traditionally occupied mythical or revered roles, making them inappropriate for consumption. Additionally, religious dietary laws often outline what is considered clean or unclean. In both Judaism and Islam, for example, animals that do not chew the cud and have cloven hooves like pigs are forbidden. Chewing the cud refers to the process by which certain animals, such as cows and sheep, regurgitate partially digested food and chew it again to aid digestion. While these laws are specific, they generally favor herbivores over predators. Meanwhile, Eastern traditions like Hinduism revere the cow, not as a food source, but as a sacred animal, reflecting another layer of cultural complexity in human-animal relationships. From a business standpoint, herbivores are simply more practical to farm. They can be raised on pasture or grain and often require less infrastructure and maintenance than carnivores. Chickens, for example, are small, fast-growing, and produce both meat and eggs. Cows provide not only beef but also milk, which can be further processed into butter, cheese, and yogurt. Sheep give meat and wool. These multi-purpose benefits make herbivores more economically attractive to both subsistence and commercial farmers. Carnivores, in contrast, produce only meat, and that meat is often less abundant. They also pose safety risks to handlers and require more secure containment. Feeding them is more expensive, and the return on investment is often lower. For all these reasons, herbivores dominate livestock farming around the world. As global awareness grows around climate change and sustainable agriculture, herbivores remain the more viable choice. While large-scale industrial meat production, even of herbivores, does pose environmental challenges, the impact of raising carnivores for meat would be substantially worse. Carnivores would need to be fed other animals, potentially leading to a multiplier effect on carbon emissions, deforestation, and water use. Furthermore, certain herbivores, when managed correctly, can actually contribute positively to ecosystems. Grazing animals like sheep and cows can help maintain grassland health, support biodiversity, and contribute to carbon sequestration, which involves storing carbon from the atmosphere in plants and soil when rotated properly in regenerative farming systems. The human preference for consuming herbivores over carnivores is not just a matter of taste or tradition, it is grounded in biology, efficiency, safety, and sustainability. Herbivores are easier to raise, safer to eat, better for the environment, and more aligned with cultural norms and religious values. While carnivore meat may be consumed in rare or exotic circumstances, it is not practical for widespread human consumption. In a world facing increasing population pressures, environmental degradation, and ethical challenges in food production, the logic behind our preference for plant-eating animals remains as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Our dietary habits reflect not just what we find on our plates, but the complex interplay between human culture, ecology, and survival strategy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more content, leave a comment to let us know your thoughts, and share this video with your friends. If you have any suggestions for content, please feel free to message me. Your support means a lot to us.